Hi everyone, I wanted to create this video to show everyone how to measure and weigh their fish, as well as show all the different functions that are included in the application. So in this case, I had caught a fish. I caught a fish actually about a month or so ago, and I thought he'd be a good example. So what I did was I actually had taken a picture of him, I saved it, and I never had measured or weighed the fish. So I'm going to actually go into there now. So as you can see, you click on the icon, then you come over here and click on the icon below, which contains the fish, and there it has all your saved profiles. Some of them I measured and weighed, some of them I did not. So it creates like a library and stores this information. So the fish I'm referring to was one I caught back on May 31st, and it is this one. So what I want to do is it prompts you automatically if you want to delete it or continue. In this case, I want to continue. This was a largemouth bass. And also what you can do is if you don't remember, and just in case you can't see the picture that well, you can always click on the picture and that fish will come up. So in this case, it's largemouth bass. And I caught that fish on a 6-inch Senko worm, which I don't believe I have it in here. I don't. So being that I don't, what I'm going to do is I'm going to enter the new custom reference. So we're going to say Senko worm, right? Senko worm next, and it's 6 inches long. Done. Okay, now you hit OK. Now it's stored in there. Now I can go ahead and start measuring it. And basically what it does is you have the prompt where it says, set the reference position and tells you what to measure. So you hit OK. So first thing you want to do is you want to measure the reference point. In this case, I'm measuring the lure. And just so you know, this is something that you have to do each time. Even though you enter it into the system, you got to do it each time because the software doesn't know the distance. So say, for example, I catch a fish and I'm standing only a few inches away from him. I take the picture versus that same fish, I'm standing a few feet away from him. It's going to affect the pixels, and therefore you have to go through the process every time. But again, it's a really quick process. I timed it, not even trying. It can take 40 seconds rather. So it's rather quick. So you just hit OK. Now that I measured the reference object, it's now going to prompt me to measure the fish. And again, in this case, I'm going to do the full length. Some fish you want to do from fork to the tip of the mouth. But again, I leave that up to you. You can just basically follow the standard, which depends upon the species of fish you're measuring. So what you do is here, what I do, I just like to get that out of the way. The picture-in-picture box, which you can adjust the size of that. And now I'm going to go ahead and measure the largemouth bass. Come over here. Okay, right. It's about right. Let's see, a little bit more. There we go. Okay. Now hit OK. He was an average fish. Well, you know what? Let's say he was hefty. Here he is. Okay. So here it is. He was hefty. I personally think that he was probably, I don't know, I would say average or lean, but we can go ahead and change that. But just for these purposes, I just wanted to show you this. So now what you can do is you can share it this way using Facebook. You click on the 3 buttons on the top here, and you can share it. There we go. There it is. You can share it over here. You can share it on, what is that? You can add to Dropbox. You can share it to social media. You can do it on, you can do it text messaging. So there's a number of ways you can share it. You can also share it without the stats. You can share it this way. Again, you click that button and it gives you all the options here. You can upload it directly to Facebook. As you can see, Facebook right there in the left corner. So it gives you plenty of options where you can share it with the stats or without the stats. Now earlier I said that I thought that I put down hefty for this fish, but this fish wasn't hefty. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to go back into the settings, which is the 3 buttons to the right, the far right. Click on that. And I'm going to, let's see, change species/size. So it's a largemouth bass, right? So we'll leave that. And I'm going to say he wasn't hefty, he was average. There you go. All right. And what you can see, it went from 3.33 pounds to 3.03 pounds. because I remember this fish, he was actually a little thick. So we would say he was average. But also what you can do in this case, another option, you can enter your comments. Let's see, strong wind in face. Strong wind in face. Water was murky. Water was murky. Fish were picky. Fish were picky. Let's see. We could say I don't know. And then from there you can enter whatever other details you think are important to that catch. For example, I surf fish a lot, so in surf fishing I'd probably put the moon phase, the tide, was it slack, was it incoming, outgoing, any bait prevalent, stuff of that matter. You can enter anything you want in here. Done, and you can also go back there and edit that, of course. So whenever you pull this profile up, you're always going to see this. Yeah, and so there it is. So there's also a couple other features that I wanted to show you as well. Also too, you can also remeasure this fish if you choose. So you can change your species of size, you can remeasure it, you can report the inaccuracy. So for example, you're finding that it's not accurate, you click on that button and that comes to me and the developer. So therefore we can look into it, we can address it. You can also delete this. So now what I want to do is I want to come out of here, right? I'm going to come out of here, and what I want to do is I want to go into settings, right? So in the settings here, this is where you have that picture-in-picture box. So that's the box that you see when you're measuring your reference point, your reference object, and the fish. You can make it small, medium, large. As you can see, I keep it on large, which is down there. There's also a use ruler skin. So instead of using the line when you're dragging your fingers to measure the fish, you can select this functionality and it becomes a ruler. And again, it does the same thing. It just gives it a different look. The angle reference, that's something when you're about to snap the picture of the fish, and what it does is it shows you that you need to be standing directly over the fish, because one thing we found during testing, if you're holding the phone on an angle, it can sometimes skew the measurements, so you really need to, the phone needs to be flat directly above the fish. Guidance pop-ups, those are the instructions that come up in between each function. You can suppress those. Manage your custom references. You can come in here and delete any, because you can see you'll get quite a few of them, and you can come in and delete it. So for example, what do we got here? Danny Lore. You know what? I can come in here and I'll delete that. Delete it. Yep, that's out of there now. What else? And the trophy medals. Actually, this I have off, but what you can do is that we actually had created for striped bass only. Down the road, we'll probably offer that for other species. But the way it works, if you catch a striped bass, here's another fish I just caught recently. Which I'm sorry, in this case, I actually used the Daiwa Whisker reel as my point of reference to measure this fish. But as I was saying, as far as with the trophy reference, what we had set up was if you caught a bass between 30 and 39 pounds, 39.99 pounds, you'd get a bronze trophy, would appear in the picture. A striped bass from 40 to 49.99 pounds, you'd get a silver trophy. And then anything over 50 pounds, you would get a gold trophy. Now, again, you can include that in your picture or not. What I've done in the past with some of the fish I've caught for demonstration purposes, and actually I got one up on my wall. For example, I caught a large bluefish, my second largest bluefish to date. And what I did was I printed up the picture with the stats just the way it is, and it's actually up on my wall. I let the fish go, and the memory is up on my wall. So those are more or less all the functions. And again, this is a different fish, but again, I just want to show you guys some of the functionality of it. It's very, very easy to use. The way I use it is I'll catch a fish, snap a quick picture, put the fish back in the water, and usually what I'll do is I'll measure and weight when I get home or the next day. Or as you can see by scrolling through the library, I have a bunch of saved ones in there I haven't even measured yet. And that way, I've even timed it. I think it's taken me like 20 seconds or so to basically catch the fish, unhook them, snap the quick picture with the reference object in there, and let it go. And then when I'm home, I've done this, I can process one of these pictures in probably under 40 seconds. So it's very, very quick. Because again, I know through past experience, I have I've caught some fish, or my buddies and I have caught some pretty big fish that when we got them in, when we basically got them in between the fight and unhooking the thing, we'd even measure and take a picture of the fish because we felt it was out of the water too long, and we didn't want to add distress to the fish, so we just let it go without documenting. Without documenting any of the catch. So please, if you have any questions or anything, please feel free to reach out to me. Thank you. Bye.